So, today I bring the last part of things that you can do when you are bored. I don't believe I finished this. The next idea it gave us was shop online. This is undoubtedly something that has become quite normal. I actually shop for my food online, meaning that I will place an order for me to go drive to the restaurant and pick it up, as opposed to going to the restaurant, placing the order, having to wait for the food to be ready, and then coming to the counter or whatever and picking it up, or having it brought out to me. And I think that is probably my favorite feature about shopping online. A lot of time wasting that is cut. But I also feel like it's keeping me away from the restaurant experience. I was used to going to restaurants to sit down there and eat there, but now I would rather we place our order to go pick it up to then come back home. If we're gonna go back home after eating anyway, why not bring the food home? But outside of that, the only other place I may once in a while shop at would be Amazon. And it's usually for phone accessories, like say whenever my case breaks or my screen protector breaks or my watch's screen protector breaks or cracks or whatever, I will place an order for that. And what's funny is I have the next one for this waiting for me, but I haven't opened it because I want for this one to completely shatter, like fall apart on me. And then that's when I'll replace it. Outside of that, my journey with shopping for clothes, such as leggings or jackets with thumb holes, which those were my addiction, I'm done. I haven't really made any purchases since April, and it was for one particular design that I was waiting to find a good price on. And I found it, I experienced my excitement, and now I'm good. I seem to buy maybe one, no more than two pairs of leggings a year. But even then, that may sound like a lot because I remember that between the year, it was either 2023 through 2024 or 2024 and the rest of 2024, one of those years, I went over a year. It was like a year and 2 months without buying any clothes. And I was super proud of myself because it told me that my quest for looking for those clothes that I was looking for, those pieces that I had seen, and I'm like, I like those, I want those, it's over. And I'm happy now because it's something stupid. I happen to like leggings, I like to collect them, but I could also be aware and understand that this is not really something that's helping me. But fortunately, for every pair that I bought, I seem to be making up for it by selling something that I was already on my way to getting rid of. It made the damage feel a little less, but I'm just happy that my quest for clothing shopping is over. What I may purchase is for Halloween. We will be allowed to dress up, and I have an idea of what I want to be. I will determine 3 weeks in advance, is when I get to know my schedule for 3 weeks from now. If I am scheduled to work on Halloween, then great. I will submit my purchase as soon as that schedule is posted for my Halloween idea. But if I'm not scheduled to work, then I won't do anything. But yeah, shopping online is great for time management. Work on your Instagram feed. I have an Instagram that I created to claim it, but I don't post anything in there. I don't remember if I even got to post a single thing. I think Instagram is stupid, it's dumb. It's about as dumb as TikTok. I'm only willing to have a YouTube, but outside of that, if you don't have my personal phone number, we don't need to be in touch. Or I guess alternatively, my email would be the only other thing I invest in. My Twitter, it's like a combination of, it was a micro journal, but now I keep using it just like I have been for the past 7 years or so. It's more as a, this is how I find out my news immediately. Whatever is on the trending page is like, okay, this is happening. If it piques my interest, sure, I will look deeper into it, but if not, I really don't care to do that. No Instagram for me. Discover new music. This I actually exercised yesterday. I was looking for boom box style kind of music or beatboxing style kind of music, because I remember that in the 90s and the early 2000s and of course the 80s, there was this urban style of music before we had things like dubstep, which sounded more beatboxy more than anything. And I was experiencing a little bit of nostalgia, and I wanted to see if I could rediscover any tunes that I may remember and have forgotten about, or if I can reconcile with the genre and discover new things. But I really could not find exactly what I was looking for. And it seems like that kind of music I was also looking for is tied to whatever the sport was at the time. I remember music like that playing in either car video games or skateboarding video games. And especially with skateboarding, the most popular kind of track was more like punk music. I loved punk music. I had my little phase, and I would say my favorite band from the 90s for that had to be AFI. And I still listen to them. It's just not as much. Another cool band, in my opinion, has to be Adolescents. They had pretty cool music, especially that Amoeba song. That was my track for a little while. I don't know what it was about it, it just drew me. Try a new face mask. It's funny that this mentions face masks because I have had some face masks lying here on my counter for about 2 years, and those go back to the year 2020 because I had them in like my little, you could say, skincare bin, but I don't really explore it because I'm the kind of person who I take a shower, I put on lotion, I'm done. And then I kept being haunted by how I have these face masks I haven't used. I have 3 more left, and about 3 weeks ago, I finally used one, and I said, I'm gonna make it my goal to get rid of these by September or so. I want to do one face mask per month. So I have 3 months worth. And after that, I don't know. If I feel like it, I'll buy another one, but it's not something I regularly do. I do it more because sometimes I crave the sensation of absolutely, utterly moisturized face skin. And what happens is when it's wintertime or when it's a dry summer, when I feel like my skin is starting to really, really get dry, I will do an extra moisturizing step beyond lotion as opposed to doing 2 layers of lotion. I may do something that's more targeted for moisturizing, but I feel like my skincare habits suffice. And that's why I really don't obsess over those things. But I love me a good face mask. I especially like that smell. Because it's for the face, it has to have a more gentle formula, and I just really enjoy that. Have a pamper day. I feel like every day is a pamper day, and especially now that I have a better relationship with my personal care, I feel like this is not something I struggle with. I will be honest with myself and be like, I need to make sure that I don't get lazy about my self care just because I'm stressed or overwhelmed about something else. I had this moment last week when I skipped putting on lotion 2 days in a row, and I could feel how my skin was starting to pretty much eat itself, and I couldn't figure out if my skin is genuinely that dry because it's just environmental factors, or if my skin has become too accustomed to me wearing lotions to where me not wearing lotion is something I cannot get away with. That worries me a little bit, but I don't have a way of knowing. Sell clothes online. That is something I already do. Create a wish list. I have this little sheet on a binder, which now I'm trying to think where this binder could be, and I have no idea. But I'm not sure if I ever got around to telling you guys what my wish list was, but I created one back in the year 2014. And I was surprised to see that most of the items in that list I could check off already. I'm gonna take a peek at one spot, see if I can find it. If I can't find it, I'm gonna try to remember what some of my items were. So unfortunately, I did not see it. I couldn't find it where I thought it might be. Maybe it is there, but I'm looking in the wrong spot. But if I stumble upon it, I will be sure to share with you guys which items I have gotten to check off. But some of them were art supplies, especially back in the year 2015. I wanted this thing. At Walmart, they had, I forget how big it was, but it was this box of like over 30 colors of markers, and there was another one that it was this pencil kit with like over 100 colors, and there was another one for pens that had, I want to say it was like 24 different colors. I was trying to get into art more seriously. At the time, it was definitely a money constraint, but also I honestly told myself I'm going to buy this the day that I feel I can actually do this and go somewhere with it. Meaning that I'm not going to start something and be quitting on it because it's not looking good, or because realistically I don't have artistic skills. They kind of come and go. There are some things that I can make happen, but it's not like I can do complex things, whether it's drawn or things that you cut out, crafty things. It's just never been my thing. But there was a time in which I did have some artistic achievements that I considered for my level, which was none, to be exciting. And then I discovered that I can truly get my mind into pixel art. And what I would do is I would go online and look up pixelated Pokemon, for instance. And that's when, if you guys have been here forever, 8 years ago, I had a wall with some pixelated characters. I made all of those by hand. And then I said, wow, maybe I cannot draw what I see, but I can pretty much hand print something. And I enjoyed the act of using my hands to create that. Even if it looked uneven, even if it looked imperfect, whatever, I created something. And I also did that with the school supplies that I had left over after I graduated. And those supplies have been there for decades, like graph paper, notebook paper. It's been there for ages. But I still held on to it because somehow I would stumble upon something that meant I would get to use those supplies. Sometimes it could be mini work projects, or mom, sometimes she envisioned something to do in her classroom when she was in school working. And I said, I think I can help with that. I got the supplies, or I got this, I got that. So in a sense, I became Walmart in the house. But now I think I would get into that if I maybe turned it into something that maybe I could use immediately, say to decorate my room, or maybe somebody compliments me on something and they like it, I can make another one. Just like journaling. Journaling is much easier for me to do, but I pretty much don't journal anymore outside of the channel. What makes me think that I'm gonna find it in me to have time for art? Maybe if I ever get to retire, which I know I won't, I don't think that's ever gonna happen. Test out new hairstyles. I absolutely refuse to spend money on haircuts. I trimmed the split ends off my hair about 5 days ago. It left my hair super uneven because I just cut out the parts that I knew were dead. Now I'm gonna let it grow for about 4 weeks, and then I'll revisit it so that I can even it out. I'm not an expert at cutting my hair. I'm pretty sure that the technique I use on my hair to trim it is not good for it, because it's not a technique. It's called trimming my hair the Zam way. But it needed to happen because the ends were so split that no matter how much product in there I put, how much water I put in there, it always looked dead. So I just said, let me just cut that out and let only the healthier, alive parts of my hair to remain. And since it's curly, it's harder for you to see the unevenness. But there are times in which the way it curls up, it lets one of the sides to stick out more, Like this, for instance, this is actually on the side of my head as opposed to the back of my head, but that is the longest strand. So what I try to do is when I brush it, I try to like poof it upward so that since my hair doesn't have layers now, it'll disperse itself to where you won't be able to tell that it's uneven. But as soon as it grows out, maybe by the second week of August or so, that's when I'll trim it into layers. I think my hair now is too short to have 3 layers like what I had going on, but I will do at least my regular 2 layers. And I just don't care for new hairstyles because with curly hair, there's just really not a lot you can do when it comes to hair cuts. And what I mean by that is I definitely don't want to have that hairstyle where my hair coils up to where it's shorter than shoulder length. Hair that's shorter than shoulder length to me is just absolutely horrific. I can't do that. But something I like to do is to just have it in layers at the very least. Now, the problem is the way I trimmed it this time around is conforming to how I part my hair frequently, which is from my left side. I have trouble maintaining that in my present because when I think about that, I'm like, I want to part my hair down the middle, but then I'll remember that my hair now is trimmed to where this side will be, I guess, shorter than this side. I don't know how to describe it, but anyway, it is not even to where I can part my hair down the middle now. But anyway, I don't care for new hairstyles. Like I said, for me, curly hair, there's not a lot you can do with it without it looking ugly, especially for my kind of face. It's not gonna look good. Call a relative. Today, as of the making of this video, it is July 14th. Today is my grandma's birthday. I texted mom to see if she had any plans going on with her, and she said that she is not visiting. She can't make it to her town, but she will give her a call. So I will connect with her when I connect with my mom. It's just hard for me. Like I've said before, I don't really have a way to be glued to my phone. And the problem is that sometimes phone conversations can extend for longer than an hour. And for me, that just cripples my brain. I just cannot be glued to the phone. I didn't grow up being glued to a phone. So for me to make phone calls, it's just really hard. What I would really like to do is visit my grandma instead of calling. Make your own bath products. As much as I like bath products, and I'm very particular about that, to me, picking my next body care item is almost a religious experience. It only happens anytime they discontinue something I'm used to using anyway. I don't care to make my own, which is weird considering I like to get creative with things like foods. Like, should I add a little bit more of this spice? Should I add this fruit, this and that? I should do that with body care items because it's the same chemistry game as playing with food. And I'm using my nose, which the things I invent with food is because I'm using my nose. My olfactory gland knows what it's doing. But I just cannot imagine a life in which I'm trying to make my own soap or my own shampoo, my own lotion. Nah, I don't like that. I don't have time for that. And I already like what I like. I really don't need to be trying to explore to see if I can make my own thing or make it better. Just know, I'm simple. Build a puzzle. That is actually a good suggestion. I got to build one of those puzzle pieces, image thingies. I hadn't done that in so long, but it's been a hot minute since I did one of those. It's maybe been a year now, and it's not like I sat down and I started it and finished it from start to finish. We had it laid out on some table in the break room, and you could contribute some pieces to it. Before my last minute of me being due to punch in, I got up there to that table and I wanted to see, with that time crunch, how many pieces I could contribute, and it was a pretty difficult puzzle because it's one of those puzzles that the pieces are small, but the picture is pretty big. I only contributed like 2 pieces, 3 tops, and even then, I'm not sure those were the right ones. And it had been started. I think a quarter of the image was done already. I enjoyed those. I just don't have any accessible to me at the moment. But you better believe that I do have an idea for playing games and recording myself playing them, especially with cards. I will say I am an absolute master at word search puzzles. There's an electronic one that I'm using, there's an app on my phone that, in some cases, it gives you the topic and you use context clues from the word bank of what the next word could be, but it does not tell you what word you're looking for. You have to find it, and if you find it and highlight it and it works, great, that means you found it. But that really broke my brain because some of them were like science related. They tend to be science related. And I said to myself, okay, bodies of water. You have rivers, you have lakes, you have oceans, you have fjords, you have estuaries, marshes, wetlands, all that. What am I missing? And I don't remember what was the word that gave me a hard time, but it was so obvious after I found it. But it was hard. It ate maybe like 15 minutes going back and forth in the puzzle. Maybe I'll do a capture of me playing that. I think I have made a video of me playing one of those before. Yeah, I can be pretty fast with word search puzzles. Sudoku, I was never good at it. I don't think I ever figured one out. Plan out your week. This is something that I'm doing pretty much as I go. I have my little agenda. I will write down whatever I need. Let it be pay a bill, buy something for the house. When it comes to activities, I have my routine set, which is I have my days off in which I try my physical therapy stuff for my sciatic nerve. I definitely have to exercise, definitely have to eat, definitely need to try to clean some things around the house here and there. I don't always do that though because it all depends on how I'm feeling physically, but also it depends on how work left me feeling, which is an extension of how I feel physically. But yeah, I really don't feel like I need to make plans for my week. My routine is super simple, super predictable, and the only thing that may make things look a little bit different is anytime I have to visit the post office to drop off a package. Paint your nails. Fuck painting my nails. It is the most pointless habit ever. I don't understand the people who need to get their nails done. And after that, you're literally disabling yourself because you have to use the keyboard like this, or you have to touch the screen like this, or you have to type your PIN number by clawing into it. I think that is a waste. I think, especially when you need to remove the paint off your nails, acetone is bad for you. It doesn't smell good, it doesn't feel good, all that. And I look at my nails as an indicator of my health. Why would I cover them? I don't like to cover them because there are some symptoms of things that my nails give away. For instance, right now I'm seeing those little vertical ridges on my nails. That means I'm a little low on a supplement. If I wasn't born with my nails painted, that means they don't need to be painted. Same as my hair. If my hair isn't changing colors because it needs to or wants to or something natural, then I don't have to be bleaching it and dyeing it and all that shit. Learn a new dance. I'm pretty sure that dancing would be something pretty good for me actually, especially with my sciatica issues. And come to think of it, dancing involves a lot of core movements, hip movements, ankle movements. That is a great full body exercise if you ask me. Dancing was simply not something that just happened. It didn't happen much in my family. It didn't happen in my community like that. Like in school, I really didn't know any dancers like that. And at work, it's not really a dancing community either. Am I interested in dancing? It depends. It depends on the genre and the complexity of it. I like the idea of being able to dance, but I think I would rather learn gymnastics before I learn how to dance. But gymnastics would be like a high impact exercise, and I don't think it would be the most suitable for me given my conditions at the moment. Do your laundry. My laundry is something that it schedules itself. I have a basket. As I sweat and stuff, I will lay out my clothes to dry on top of the basket. Once they're dry, I will slip them onto their respective basket. I have a basket for darks, a basket for colors, a basket for whites. Once my basket for either darks or colors is full, that's when I go. Sometimes that happens within 3 weeks. Sometimes it takes me 6 weeks. I'm glad I'm not going to the laundry every week because that shit would get pretty expensive. I think one laundry trip is the equivalent of me buying all of Dusty's things. So imagine if I were going every single week. I can't do that. I'm glad that I have enough clothes to where I can go 6 weeks without doing my laundry. And no, it doesn't smell bad because I let the clothes breathe before I put them in there. And my baskets they're not solid baskets, they have holes in there. So it allows for the clothes to breathe. And the kind of dirtying up of clothes that I do is nothing extreme. Write a letter to someone. I used to do this actually. I stopped back in the year, maybe 2015, 2016. But I truly, truly loved writing letters to people. Now you could say my version of writing letters could take the form of an email. Like sometimes I have folks I write to via email that I can compose a whole chapter to. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to tell you some story, share with you some anecdote or some struggle I have or some achievement I have, and I will format it almost like a letter. The only thing I don't do is include the dear whomever with love or affectionately in the end. Nothing like that. It's formatted like it's a letter, but it doesn't have those greetings and closing statements. It's just getting you caught up with something that happened in my life. How are you doing? Tell me if you have a story of your own, especially if it's been someone I've been out of touch with for some weeks. Handwritten letters. I remember the last time I mailed a letter handwritten. It had to be maybe the year 2018, but prior to that, it had been the year 2005. And I remember that because it was around the time that we moved from my childhood home. Write 3 short-term goals. In a sense, instead of writing them down, I have them in my mind. My short-term goals are always something like lose whatever extra weight I have gained, make it to having an extra, I don't know, $500 in my bank account so that I can be prepared for my next maintenance visit for my car. And then another one could be a work goal. Like, is there a way that I can reduce my hours a little bit more so that I feel better, so that I'm healthier, so that I can address my physical problems, so that I can rest? Or other times it could be the opposite. It could be, okay, as opposed to working, I don't know, 20 hours this week, let me try going for 25 hours. And after that, if I feel like I can go the extra mile, I will challenge myself with maybe 1 week of 27 hours. But sincerely, my days of working 29, 28, 27, 26 hours, those days are fucking over. I can't do that anymore. I just cannot. So my goal is, can I make it to where I can continue to reduce my hours and work on my health instead? And then these past 2 days that I have had off, they have been nothing but physical therapy days. And I hate that because now I'm like, I have the day off, but I'm working on physical problems, which I'm grateful I'm working on because it's helping me feel better. But I hate that I can still not think about recreation or think about cleaning the house up or do something fucking fun, anything like that. I have to be thinking about either grinding on the side to supplement what I'm not making at work or just something to taint my image of I'm off, I'm breathing, I can exist peacefully. I can't do that. But I have no regrets. Work on current goals, obviously, that's something that happens every day. And my current goals are always things like maintain whatever level of fitness I have, don't try to get worse from my physical conditions, and continue my daily grinding with my side stuff. And I guess I could say that YouTube is an extension of that. Even if I make like 20 cents a day, that's 20 cents I didn't have yesterday. Those 20 cents are going to complete the dollar somewhere. Let's go. And it's also good for my mind too, because I can observe my changes. I go from being worried to being happy to being sad to being frustrated and all that. But what I like about me having this is when I listen to my own playback as I'm editing, I'm like, I took that very well. I dealt with that pretty gracefully. I could have been bawling my eyes out, just like I do sometimes in my own private time, but I'm noticing more and more that I'm able to maintain myself more composed. I can face something, talk about it, and that's my version of dealing with it. I can let it go as opposed to feeling stuck in that. Look up new recipes online. I don't cook, really. I don't have time for that. But I will say that what I try to do is whatever I bring home, I try to do something different with it. Say, if I'm making pasta, I try to maybe cook it without sauce, but instead use a cheese, use herbs to go with it. Or maybe if I have ice cream, I will have more than one flavor of ice cream. And maybe I will make a protein shake with ice cream. Maybe I'll create a new milkshake. Like recently, for the first time in my life, I bought a sea salt caramel gelato to mix with my other favorite flavors of ice cream, because I went to an ice cream shop where I ordered something with caramel and chocolate and it worked out. And then I thought, let me see what I can create at home. And precisely today, I ran out of that sea salt gelato. I got to try 4 different milkshakes, and I thought, it turns out I do like caramel. I just have to be in control over how much of it goes into what. And yeah, you could say that was my version of trying a recipe. I didn't have to look for it online and get the recommendations for it online, but I was my own guide at trying to come up with a new recipe. Because usually when it comes to something like milkshakes, I have my recipe. It's just the chocolate ice cream of my choice, my almond milk or coconut milk, maybe add some coconut shreds, and I'm done. Or maybe the chocolate drizzle that my boyfriend had lying around, and I'm done. But now I said, okay, how can I continue to big back it with the ingredients that I have at home? And another one I tried was I added hazelnut to it in the form of Nutella. And then I said, okay, Nutella chocolate ice cream with almond milk is great. What else can I do? What else can I try? Go for a car or bike ride. I do that pretty much as I go. Sometimes if I have to go to Walmart, I will try a new way of getting there. Maybe I have not driven down some road for a while. I will try that. And to my horror, I will discover that some trees have been cut down. I have this bike that my brother left behind. The tires on it are deflated. I don't know if they're damaged. I keep meaning to take that bicycle to someone at work who works with bicycles to see if they can bring it back to life. But I don't know. It's kind of a burden. It feels like a burden. But what I would do if I fixed that bike is I would go to some parks around here where they have trails and people ride their bicycles. I would do that. I would need to practice at some abandoned parking lot that we have around here, because I have not ridden a bicycle for real since maybe the year 2014, 2015. And what I mean is I tried it for like 5 minutes. I didn't have anywhere to go. But full-time, legit, invested, focused bicycle riding, that started for me in the year 2004. And then after 2005, I never rode a bicycle again. That's something I would be interested in going back to. Car rides, I don't really go out of my way to drive around to absorb the scenery, because to me, a car is a very serious and stressful thing. It is easy to have an accident nowadays because of how stupid people are driving. And the way that my mom inculcated owning a car to me was, a car is a tool, it's a necessity, it's not a toy. Don't go out and bullshit, because when you go out and bullshit, you'll find trouble. In addition, I also asked myself, if I needed to repair my car right now on the spot, would I be able to afford that? If the answer is no, that means I should deprive myself of that. And honestly, I don't mind. Whenever I drive out of necessity, that's when I absorb the experience of driving. But if I were to go riding to absorb the scenery, I would rather be a passenger instead of the driver, because when I'm the driver, I don't notice my surroundings. I'm looking for threats. And if you're looking at the road in that fashion, you're not really enjoying the environment. You're just driving defensively. But hey, I haven't gotten hit, so that must be working for me. Bake cookies or banana bread? Banana bread is not bad. I don't love it. I would never bake it myself. And anything that my boyfriend thinks about baking, I'm like, if you're gonna bake something for yourself, go ahead and bake it with the things I don't like. But if you know that there's gonna be something in there that I don't like, either make half of it having the thing that I don't like and the other half has the thing that you like, or make it to where both of us can have it. Cookies, I've never baked cookies before. They look like they could be a fun thing. But again, it's one of those things that I don't eat often. Maybe it's a once a year type of thing that maybe I'll buy myself a package of cookies like I did a couple nights ago. There is this new flavor of cookies that I discovered at the grocery store that looked like they could be interesting. I tried them, I liked them, and now I'm eating 3 cookies a day. And after that box is done, that's pretty much it with me and cookies. And then finally, plan your next vacation. That is sort of planned already for the week of August, the first week of August. I am taking that time off, obviously, because it's my birthday. And my boyfriend and I were talking about things that we may try to do. We're gonna try to make it to a beach. We're gonna try to make it to either an aquarium or a museum. And we're also gonna try to make it to maybe another town, another city, to try some new food or something. Something simple, nothing too crazy. I don't anticipate any of these trips are going to keep us out of town. Like say, oh my God, we're gonna book a hotel or we're gonna stay somewhere. No, 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 no. I'm a person who likes day trips. My boyfriend prefers to go somewhere and spend more than a day over there. I'm like, I can do that, but on somebody else's dime. I personally, if I can avoid it, I try to do everything in one day, like go to that place with a plan and then come back home. And then from home, maybe take off to a new location as opposed to spending days away. Because, like I have said before, I genuinely don't like to travel. I like to travel with a purpose, but I don't like for that purpose to be prolonged, if you catch my drift. Well, that's it for me, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know your thoughts on any of these, and I'll see you next time.